Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, good morning.
Welcome back to Real Talk with SLR.
How are you guys doing?
Well, we're doing really good.
Yes.
We've got a mountain of insulation here on the property.
Yes, it's time to insulate the basement.
Finally.
Finally.
Finally getting it done. So you guys noticed we didn't put out a Real Talk yesterday. We ran into some hiccups. So yeah, you guys got a short instead. How'd you guys like that short? We did end up going to Fort Smith yesterday. We got all of this stuff here on the property. So Gary and I are going to be very, very busy doing insulation inside the basement today. Hopefully we'll finish it today because winter is coming. We got like 5 days of freeze coming up for us starting tomorrow. I think tomorrow night is the first day of freeze, right?
Yep.
And then it'll be here through like Tuesday. And we don't want to freeze inside the basement.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And it's it's definitely time for us to get it done. Mm-hmm. We were contemplating. Thank you. It's still early.
Yeah.
But we were contemplating on whether or not we were going to double up the insulation and get us to a higher R value and get us like an R30 or close to. Honestly, the more I'm looking at it and the more I'm really trying to dial everything in, and I don't want to overdo it.
What, Gary? That's so not like you.
I always do that, and I mean, materials are pretty costly, so
Yeah.
and long-term wise, I don't really need an R30.
Yeah.
It's only this winter that it's more so like it would be nice to have it, but after that it would be not really worth it in the long haul.
Yeah, and I think that having the R15 is going to get us through this winter. The basement is already maintaining temperature pretty well, but as y'all know, heat rises, and we don't want to be paying like an astronomical heating bill through the power to heat up the basement, because all of our heat source right now is through power.
Yep.
So this should help with the sound. It should help with maintaining the temperature inside there, because that's the only escape route is through the ceiling / roof. Everything else is insulated. All the block is already insulated on the outside, so this is like the last bit of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy with everything, and it should hold its temperature a lot better.
I think so.
We'll be moving on pretty good.
I'm curious to see how much of a sound deterrent it is from room to room.
Yeah.
Because right now there's nothing up there, and through the rafters, like if we're watching TV in our bedroom and the living room TV is going on for the kids, like we could hear what's going on in each room, which is fine. But House of the Dragons is coming back, and we want to watch that, and there's some stuff that we like to watch that we don't want the kids to hear and whatnot, so we got to turn it really low, and hopefully this will help out with some of that noise.
Yep. So I'm pretty happy about it. It should. I mean, it claims to do a really good job.
It says Fire and Sound Guard Plus.
Yep.
So, and it is the professional grade mineral wool, and it's mold resistant.
Yep.
So it should help. It should be good for everything that we need inside the basement, so we can keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty happy about it.
Excuse me.
It's the R15 value.
Yep.
So that should give us a good value rating all the way around, and it is rock wool. So it's a lot easier to pretty much mess around with, I'd say, than the fiberglass, just because fiberglass is a pain in the butt.
And when it gets on you, you get super itchy. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
excuse me.
I'm pretty happy. I mean, R15, we're going to see how it goes in. I've always messed around with the pink insulation or the Pink Panther stuff. Yeah. I mean, this is Pink Panther too.
Is it? I don't think so.
There's a panther on it.
Is there?
There's on this side, I think.
I didn't see one.
on the picture?
We'll have to check it out when we unload it fully and get it going. I don't really want to mess with it too much because Gary just took all the straps off of it.
Yeah.
You should have seen some of the looks that we were getting driving with this bundle down the road. I was joking with Gary. I'm like, all we need in the back is the rocking chair. Beverly Hillbillies, anybody?
It was pretty funny. I mean, we had 3 trailers on the property.
Yeah, and
before we left. But I mean, honestly, I had a feeling it was going to be like this.
Yeah.
But I'm me, and I'm like, it can fit in the back of the truck.
Oh, get
if it's stacking up that high, and I already knew that they would have the pallets because I'm not going to be, this is 24 right here.
Yeah.
So.
How many did we buy total? How many?
32.
32 packages.
Yep. And one does 39.2 square feet.
Yeah, and they're proud of it too. Let me tell you what,
Yep.
I have a love-hate relationship with going to the hardware stores because I love it because every time that we go, I know that we're going to be getting it on our build, right? And so I'm excited and I'm happy, but I hate it because every time that we go, I know that I'm going to be feeling it in the bank account. So I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
And they are, everything, as you guys know, has gone up tremendously. And, we decided to build our house in the worst time ever, but at the same time, ain't no time like the present, if not now, then when,
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. Just roll with it.
Yeah, that's all you can do is
roll with it.
Make sacrifices where need be and just keep going forward and yeah. So
keep chugging along.
We're going to have our hands very full today. We're doing all this installation. We're going to try to knock it out before the kids come home from school. We do have to worry and mess around with the filter house that we are working on. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to get that going sometime soon. But if we run out of time and before the freeze, we can always just throw some more Visqueen on it. It is insulated.
Nope.
So, we shouldn't be frozen out of water for the house. I know. No. Anthony and Roxanne with Country Road Cure, they're also doing their part of the well house. So you guys I don't want to spill too many beans, but I do know you guys are going to be seeing that on Country Road Cure's channel in upcoming videos. So I know that was probably going to be one of the questions y'all were going to ask. Well, what about the well? Country Road Cure working on it.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. I still got the cough, but it's I'm feeling loads better if you guys can't tell.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a little bit of lingering.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll get through it.
It's all good.
But I'm looking forward to this because it's
a huge check.
It's a huge check, exactly. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be interesting, especially on the sides. When we go to insulate it, it's going to be...
on the sides, you mean like where the zipped system is?
Well, just the sides, because we have, open web floor joists, so it's not a... It's not like everything else where it's a 2x8 floor joist or the eye joist or anything else like that. It's got webs.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit more interesting.
Well, I know that me and Gary have discussed kind of a game plan of how we're going to do it. Gary's, for the most part, you're going to be up in the rafters and up on a ladder, and then I'm going to be down on the floor level. He's going to be hollering out cuts for me, and I'm just going to be Cut Master 5000, and then, bringing it up over to Gary so Gary can actually staple it in and get it going that way. Yep. I think that would be the best use of the time, so that way you're not up and down from the ladder so much.
So we're not really going to be stapling them in.
Oh, how are we going to put them in?
So there's no face on these, which is another thing.
Oh, joy. Oh, joy.
It's straight up rock wool.
So there's no cardboard backing or whatever, that paper,
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Well, shoot.
So...
I guess, I don't even know.
You're gonna find out.
I'm about to find out.
You're about to find out. It's gonna be interesting. It's all right though. They're in 4 foot or a little less than 4 foot. They're 47 inches long.
Is that gonna be bothersome with like minute particles falling down and?
It might, but at the same time, it depends on how we're going to go about doing this.
Because I'm thinking just the ceiling fan area, with the wind, like...
I don't think that it's going to have any particles on it. It might. but we're gonna have to address that one here at another time.
Really soon.
This is just the start.
Well, it's not the fiberglass, so if it did fall down, it's like
exactly. It's
it
not
wouldn't be the worst thing.
correct. And rock wool is a lot more stout than fiberglass in a sense.
And it's like actual wool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get the itchiness.
El natural.
It's weird because it's 70% recycled material. Mm-hmm. So, and a lot of it is rock.
I wonder what that other 30% is. The non-recycled material part.
It's probably fibers to tie into the rock.
True.
That's probably what it is. But it's a thermofiber, so that's where I'm thinking that the fiber comes in, is the last 30%.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is rocks.
I'm going to learn a lot today, guys.
It's got the best drainage, so if it does get wet, you're not going to lose the R value like you would on fiberglass.
Right.
Whereas fiberglass gets wet, now you just created like a wet sleet
and that
layer.
stuff molds really quick too.
Correct.
But lucky for us, I mean, we've been through several storms here in the basement now. Since we did that second additional waterproofing measure to all of like the seams where everything butts up, we've had 0 leaks. So the basement is 100% water, dried in.
Yes.
So I'm not too worried about it getting wet.
I'm not too worried about it, but if we end up springing a leak somewhere down the line for the next 3 months, it's not going to destroy our investment into the actual insulation.
You don't have to rip it out and then replace it. You could just let
If it was fiberglass, well, then you might as well just take out all that wet fiberglass that's wet and replace it.
Right.
And it's costly.
Yeah.
They're not, it's not cheap for any of it.
Well, they're proud of everything.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to go in though. And I'm really hoping that I don't have to buy more. This is more than the square footage of the basement, but we have to account for the sides.
Yeah.
Which is 16 inches. So, yeah.
And we didn't want to buy like more than we were going to need again because, the cost and stuff. So we're going to find out if we got just enough, if we got any excess. I'm hoping that we have like a tiny bit of excess, but I honestly think that we're going to have like just enough.
I have a feeling it's going to be just enough.
Yeah.
And if anything, if we're like, crap, we need to buy, another bag or something like that, hopefully it will be to a point where it's like at least the divider is in, as well as all the sides. So that way we can start dividing in between the rooms.
Yeah, because our first room that we're going to start working on is going to be where the kids are. We're going to start in that corner where their bunk beds is and the kids area first. And then we're going to work and do the entire front main room. And then we'll go and start doing our bedroom area. And then we'll do the bathroom and the hallway and work towards the back where the laundry room and the utility room are. Because if we run out, that's where we want to run out at.
Yes.
So.
Correct.
Yeah. That way the most living space is mostly warm, so.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy. And we're not going to be able to put it down close to like where the fans are. It's going to have to go up as high as we can get it because one, we've got the pipes in there.
Yes.
Once we get the cabin built and everything, this is another thing. Then we're going to be able to take all that insulation and bring it down, and then we'll be able to do the roof.
Yeah.
Or the ceiling. So it's we're going to be going about it a little differently, but at the same time, it's going to be beneficial for what we're using the basement as right now.
And the stage that we're into. Correct. So there's been a lot of questions like, when are you guys going to do the ceiling, the roof and the ceiling on the inside? What are you guys going to do for that? And honestly, we haven't decided what we want to do yet, and we are not going to be putting in the ceiling until after the cabin upstairs is finished.
Yeah, and, the more we talk about it, you're all right, baby?
I'm all right. It's just, I need to stop talking.
The more we keep on talking about it and everything else, we're really not concerned about finishing up the basement fully.
Yeah.
We want to get the outside pretty squared away, and the inside basically just for the door trim and the window trim, side trims and whatnot. The baseboards, we're not going to be doing it just now, just because we don't know what we're going to do in the basement for the flooring.
Yeah, we haven't decided if we're going to leave it concrete or if we're going to put down flooring yet.
We might end up doing the flooring, but
sorry guys, having a fit.
But because of that, we're not so worried about finishing the basement, and we're sort of living in it right now.
Yeah.
So it would be a lot of ring around the rosy that I don't want to play right now.
Yes. So the trim that we are going to do, though, is we are going to do the window trim,
Yes.
and we are going to do around the door trim.
So that way that's done.
Exactly. And then I can buy blinds for the front 2 windows, because right now there's no curtains, there's no
Correct.
blinds, and that's fine. I enjoy looking out the window. I mean, we got the best view. Like, why would you want to hide it? But
The floor, baseboards, and everything else like that, if I need to cut out a little bit on the door trim, I can cut out a little bit with the oscillating saw. So it's not, to me, I'm like, I can do those, but the baseboards, I don't really want to be ripping those off of the drywall that we just put up or anything else like that. So.
Yeah, so when we move upstairs into the cabin, when we're finished with it completely, and that's another thing too, we plan on living in this basement until every single stitch and every single crumb is done with the cabin upstairs. So we're going to be living in this basement for a while. Like, I mean, every last bit of paint, every last bit of everything is going to be done inside the cabin before we...
Every little nook and cranny trim piece of anything. For doing molding, like anything at all. It's got to be done fully, because I'm not running into the issue of trying to live in something and insulate it like what we're doing right now.
And the only reason why we're doing what we're doing now is because this is so much superior living conditions than the trailer. I'm not trying to take a dump on the trailer. It was a great house for us for the last 18 months. Like, it served its purpose. When we moved out here to this property, there was a quad trail up here. That's it. There was nothing. It was just a quad trail, a whole bunch of trees. There was no water. There was no power. There was nothing. And so for us to live in that trailer, it was a means to an end. We knew that the time would be ending at some point. And honestly, it took a lot of convincing for me to convince Gary to have us move into the basement, because he doesn't want to live in a construction zone. And I get it. I don't want to live in a construction zone either. But being that there's such minor things that we have left to do in the basement, such as this insulation, the window and the door trim, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
We all have a lot better arrangement in the basement than what the trailer was.
Quality of life has gone up tremendously. Correct. And I mean, you guys can tell, you can see it in our videos, we're so much more relaxed. Like, everyone is just happier.
We're taking a lot more time for ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to rush the process of everything.
We're trying to enjoy the process.
Correct. It's we're not a building channel. We've said it multiple times.
Yeah, no.
So those that are like, just get onto the cabin already.
Yeah, just build already.
Which, honestly, it's only like 0.1% of you guys. It's not. So don't think we're talking about all you guys out there. You guys are great.
The majority of people that leave comments are so pleasant and uplifting and kind, and you guys get it, man.
Yes.
Y'all get it. But I don't know what it is, you know, when you're on social media or whatever, it's that you have 100 comments that are positive and that are wonderful and so nice and uplifting, and then you got that one jerk, you know, the one rando that'll just try to poop on the parade, you know. And we do get it, but we obviously ignore it most of the time because we can't, you know.
It's comical to me at this point.
We can't do anything about it. And no, we are not a building channel. Yes, building is a huge part of what we're doing right now, but Simple Life Reclaimed, excuse me, guys. Simple Life Reclaimed started in Arizona as a family vlog.
Yep.
And it's continued to be that throughout this whole transition. Granted, building is a huge part of our life. Right now, but it's not always going to be. And after the build is done, we're still going to be vlogging, so.
Yeah. We've got a lot of...
Sorry, guys.
We've got a lot of building to do, that is for sure. But I'm I'm one of those men that just hold to the plan as much as I can, because if you try to deviate from the plan and try to rush things, that's where things screw up.
Exactly.
So before you try to jump ahead, you got to really go down each and individual itemizations of what you need to do exactly and everything else, which is why it was a huge talking into for us just to get into the basement right now for me.
It was. I mean, I basically had to beg Gary. I was like, please, please. And I mean,
it was.
I got my way. Thank you, baby. Thank you, baby.
Because normally that's not what you do when you're building. You don't move into a thing before it's fully dried in.
If you guys have noticed about us too, with Gary and I, we don't like to scuttle around from project to project to project. Obviously, sometimes when there is a need and a priority, like having to go skirt from the basement and go and work on the well house, well, the weather's changing. That like took priority. We have to do that.
And working with block, we already know, trying to do it in the winter sucks because you have to do it with the weather, and I ain't screwing with the ratio of what the bag says. Yeah,
and the timing, right? So like sometimes, just like in everyone else's life, you have priorities that pop up, and you have to give that immediate attention. But Gary and I don't like to go from project to project and then have like 50 half-butt projects that are none of them are done. We don't like to do that. We like to just like we get like hyper-focused on whatever we're doing and work it till completion, and then we can move on to the next thing. So that's just how we roll. It's how we like to do stuff, and we're not perfect with it either. I will say this right now. We are not perfect with that because, again, life happens sometimes, but that's how we're trying to do stuff.
I had the garage slab poured early for a reason. Yep. And it all tied into just the land, and I wanted to make sure that that's a good spot. And if it starts sinking now, I'd rather know now before I build. Because where we put that, we had to build all of that up.
And speaking of sinking, sorry guys, I'm having coughing fits. I'm sorry, coughing in your ears so much, guys. But I was going to say, speaking of sinking, since we have Uber, and you guys know we have Uber, Gary, you did a great job over there with the coverts.
I ain't done. I ain't done by any means.
Right here, where we dragged all the water around the property, there is some spots that's sinking. And with Uber, as soon as we're done with this installation, because we're, again, prioritizing things, the freezing temperature is coming, so we're like, okay, let's get this done really quick, so that way during that 5-day period we're not suffering, because during that 5-day period, when it is freezing over here, we can go back to the Uber work, we can go over there and finish that stuff up. We've got a big pile of rock that Gary's going to be moving around and trying to get some of these divots and sink spots taken care of over here, as well as everything that we've got to do over there with the culvert. So,
yep, it's gonna be fun.
But that just happens when, like, you know, you have a big hole and then you fill the hole and then the weather like packs it down deeper. I mean, we did drive over this and stuff with like the side-by-side and everything, but
this thing was so.
Sorry guys, battery overheated. Had to change it really quick. What were you saying, baby? This thing was so high.
So yeah, I mean, it was all the way up to the concrete. It's already receded quite a bit below that concrete level, and we're starting to get a little divot where the actual dig out was.
Yeah, the pipes and stuff that we had to run underground.
Which, I mean, granted, some of it did wash a little bit into the, into the yard area and sort of leveled it out a little bit more, but not all of that.
Well, we did attempt to grow grass over here, and then, as soon as the grass started growing, then summer came. We planted it at the wrong time.
We definitely planted it at the wrong time.
So, I mean, this area, we will be planting grass over here. We don't want it just to be dirt, We'll be planting grass. I got a bunch of clover seeds, too, that I'm going to be throwing around, just to kind of, like, get the...
Liven it up.
Yeah, liven it up, and also to make the dirt so it won't wash as much, So, like, it'll have some roots and something to grab onto, so when we do get those big rainstorms and stuff, like... It won't just go away.
Yeah, I want to be putting in some drainage. I don't know exactly what the term is, like the grates, where you can actually have water run into that grate and then get it out. Because we have it all tied into the sump pump area, and I can find the most crucial spot and put a grate there and be like, there you go.
a lot of these things we're going to be tightening up and trying to finish before we move on to the garage. And we've got this month to do it. So, I mean, we're going to be putting major foot to booty and putting the work in and getting a lot of this stuff done. I'm excited for it.
I'm excited. I mean, the garage, I'm in tinkering in my mind a lot. And with what I've got thought out for it, it shouldn't take us that long.
Tomorrow by noon.
I'm just saying, like, because I plan on making my own rafters. So I want to learn. I mean, that's partly why I want to do the garage too and build it all, so I can learn a process to where I can actually implement that process on the house.
Well, that's why I say, and I was joking with the tomorrow by noon, is because although it shouldn't, you know, whatever take us super long, we are going to be taking our time. Because we are learning, and this is kind of like the pre-run for the cabin. The garage is the pre-run for the cabin, so we're going to be taking our time learning. You've got so many wonderful books from some subscribers and stuff that you've been looking at and tinkering with, and I don't really know any of that stuff, so I'm just going to be learning. I mean, Gary knows way more than I do about building, and I'm just going to be, you know, your shadow and learning along the way.
It's going to be interesting.
You're going to be patient with me, right, babe?
Yes, I'm going to be extremely patient with you, baby. Okay. We'll be good.
Yeah.
But I want to do vaulted ceilings in the garage because I will be having a lift in there.
Eventually.
And, I mean, granted, I'm going to be doing 14-foot sidewalls because I want to have the lift in there.
Yeah.
But I would like to be able to lift the car up as high as I can, in a sense, and still be able to go underneath it if need be.
It'd be way easier on your back.
Correct. And I don't want to be, you know, like some trucks, they're huge. So with the 14-foot wall, you're barely going to be picking it up, you know.
It's just got to be big enough so that way eventually, like down the line, later, when we get our own tractor, or if Come On wants to bring Uber over and we're going to service it or something, you can haul it in there.
Yeah. Something to where we can all have a shop. If any one of us have a vehicle down, we can get to it easy and work on it. You did?
Just a little bit. Let's get some of that.
You can have that.
Don't want the germs.
No.
All right. Well, guys, woo! But Gary and I, we've got a lot of work we're going to get doing. We're going to start getting this taken care of. We've got a limited amount of time because we want to get this done before the kids come home.
Yes.
And then we got to start, you know, putting our eyesight on some of the other things like the filter house and just making sure that we are ready for tomorrow. The freeze isn't coming until tomorrow night, so we will still have tomorrow too. Yep. But we're going to try to just get as much done as we possibly can today. Keep pushing forward.
Keep on moving.
Keep on going.
That's all you can do.
One step at a time, day by day, little by little. Yeah, and enjoy the process.
Exactly.
So I want to say thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. Stay tuned for a new video on Simple Life Reclaimed tomorrow. You guys can see us put all this work in. I will be working with Gary. I'll be editing it out, and I will be posting it tomorrow for you guys. So I hope that you guys stay tuned for that. And we'll be back with another Real Talk episode tomorrow in the morning sometime. So until then, guys, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us, and thank you for being here. And until the next one, we hope you have a good one.
And we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye, you guys.
Later.